So today we're playing a combo deck. It's built in a kind of 4-colour Legends shell, so the mana's not perfect, but we do have a few Triomes and 4 copies of Plaza of Heroes to help with that. The combo itself is an infinite loop, which allows us to create as many 2/2 cats with haste as we need to be able to swing in and kill the opponent in the very turn that we combo off. So it's a 4-card combo, which starts with Atsushi. We'll be abusing the Legends rule. So if we create a copy of Atsushi, that copy immediately dies, and we can then choose one of these 2 modes to trigger upon its death. So we'll usually be choosing to create 3 treasure tokens. So create a copy of Atsushi, the copy dies, we get 3 treasure tokens. To create the copy, we're using Blade of Shared Souls, which is an equipment, and when it becomes attached to one of our creatures, we can have that creature become a copy of another one of our creatures. It also has 4 Mirrodin, so when we cast the Blade of Shared Souls, that creates a creature token and the blade attaches to it, so we can immediately have that token become a copy of Atsushi, assuming we have Atsushi in play. So play the Blade of Shared Souls, create a copy of Atsushi, the copy dies, we get 3 treasure tokens. However, if we have Jinnie Fay in play, Jinnie Fay's ability says that whenever we create 1 or more tokens, we can instead create that many 2/2 green cat creature tokens with haste. So when Atsushi dies, instead of creating 3 treasure tokens, we can create 3 2/2 green cats with haste. Following so far? Blade of Shared Souls creates a copy of Atsushi, the copy dies, we get 3 2/2 cats with haste. The final part of the combo is Kemba Kha Enduring, whose ability says whenever a cat enters the battlefield under our control, we can attach up to 1 equipment to it. So when these 3 2/2 cats enter the battlefield, we can have Kemba's ability attach the Blade of Shared Souls to one of them. That then triggers Blade of Shared Souls ability, and the cat we attached it to can become another copy of Atsushi. That copy dies because of the Legends rule. We get 3 more treasure tokens, or because we've got Jinnie Fay, we actually get 3 2/2 cats with haste. Kemba's ability triggers. We can attach the Blade of Shared Souls to one of those cats. The cat we attached it to now becomes a copy of Atsushi. The copy dies. We get 3 more cats, and you can see where this is going. It's an infinite loop. We can create as many cats as we need to kill the opponent that turn. So that's the main combo. On top of that, we run 4 copies of Fauna Shaman, which lets us discard a creature card and search our library for a different creature card. So that's great for finding any of the 3 creatures that we might be missing to do the combo. We run Skrelv and Melira for protection. We run 4 copies of Thalia because the only non-creature spell we have in the deck is Blade of Shared Souls, and we don't really care if that's 3 mana or 4 mana. The final card in our deck is 4 copies of Gala Greeters, which is really important because it has a very nice synergy with Jinnie Fay. So whenever a creature enters the battlefield, one of these 3 modes triggers on Gala Greeters, and we'll usually be choosing create a tap treasure token. So if we have Jinnie in play, instead of creating a tap treasure token, we can create a 2/2 cat or a 3/1 dog. So assuming we have both Gala Greeters and Jinnie Fay in play, then whenever a creature enters the battlefield under our control, we kind of get double Gala Greeters triggers, right? The first one we use to create a 2/2 cat or a 3/1 dog, which then triggers Gala Greeters again, and we can choose to either pump Gala Greeters or gain life. So that's just really good for building quite a wide board quite quickly, as well as pumping Gala Greeters and gaining life at the same time. So that's really good for stabilizing against aggro decks. The life gain and having loads of blockers makes it difficult for decks like Mono Red to kill us, before they run out of gas. So one other little synergy I want to mention is we can also cast Blade of Shared Souls, create a copy of Atsushi, but choose the other mode, which allows us to exile the top 2 cards of our library and then play those until the end of next turn. So we've even got a bit of card draw, which additionally helps us dig for the remaining combo pieces if we only have the Atsushi in play. So that's the deck. Let's play some games with it and see how it does. Alright, we're on the draw with 2 out of 4 combo pieces and a Skrell for protection. I think this is a keep. We can play the tap land and then the Skrell on turn 2 and then the Jinnie on turn 3. Although we would need a different source other than Otawara. I think any land in our entire deck except for Otawara would do it. Okay, so opponent playing mono red. Off to a decent start. The Gala Greeters can help stabilize a bit with gaining life or making treasure tokens or boosting themselves, pumping themselves. Looks like opponent is deciding whether to kill the Gala Greeters or not. Okay, looks like they've decided against it. We take 5. The question is now, do we play second Gala? We did get the land for Jinnie Fay. Okay, so the question is whether we go Gala Greeters and Skrell to get maximum triggers, or whether we go with Jinnie Fay and start making the extra tokens. Start making the extra creature tokens. I think I prefer that, because also a 3/3 blocker is good against them, right? It means they don't have any good attacks with either of these two. So we get a 3/1 dog and we gain 2 life. So the fact that opponent was hovering Gala Greeters for so long last turn makes me think they do have a burn spell. Okay, a 4/4 Thundering Raiju is certainly a problem. So if we block like this, we take 8. But we get 4 back. We'd fall to 3, but we get 4 back next turn from a bunch of Gala Greeters triggers. So I think that's fine. So we can play the Plaza, play the Gala Greeters, create a tapped treasure token, create another dog, put a +1 counter, create a tapped treasure token, create another dog, gain 2 life, gain 2 life, cast the Skrell, +1 counter. And we can attack with a dog because it has vigilance. But we do need as much as possible back on defense here to stop them killing us. Next turn we can play the Atsushi, which blocks against the Phoenix Chick, so we're close to stabilizing here. It's all about whether they can force through enough damage in this next turn or two. Okay. So we're certainly close to being dead, but I'm not sure if we are dead yet. This can block this. This can block the Squee. This has to chump block. This can block this. And we take 4, we go to 1, but we still have at least 1 Gala Greeters. Sure. Another Gala Greeters. So do we play that instead of the Atsushi? The Atsushi allows us to block against the Phoenix Chick, whereas the Gala Greeters would get us an extra 2 life. So I think we go with the Gala Greeters here. Take the extra life. Create a tap treasure token, create a dog. Gain 2 life. Create a tap treasure token, create a dog. +1 counter. Gain more life. And this is still live. Okay, that's good. So we can bounce something if we need to. Again, attack with the dogs because they have vigilance. Leave everything else back on defense. So depending on what they do here, we might... It could be a good idea to bounce the Raiju before... Okay, they have another one. Okay, so I think we bounce this one. And I think we survive another turn. An opponent concedes. I'm not sure why. Was it that clear that they'd lost by that point? I don't know. But we certainly did look like we had about stabilized, thanks to all those Gala Greeters and life gain. So we're on the draw. Opponent has mulliganed. We don't have the best hand, but at least we have a good curve, and the Fauna Shaman will be protected and can be used to dig for the creature cards that we need. We have good lands. Like, there's lots of decent things about this hand. We're just missing the main combo pieces, right? But we've at least got a way to find them. So, opponent playing what looks like red, green, white. There is also a Boros sort of mid-rangey flicker deck with basically mono-white mid-range, but with a tally and a way to flicker it, which I think does run the Jetmir's Garden. So that could be what we're up against. Obviously here we just want to run out the Fauna Shaman because there's nothing else we can do. And we pass. So interested to see what opponent might have here. If they play this 3 mana, yeah, it does look like a flicker deck, doesn't it? This is also a great card to flicker. Okay, passes back. Melira is fine. Or alternatively, we discard her and get something more useful. Like start getting the combo pieces. I think we do. I think we would rather just start getting the combo pieces. So we take a Kemba because we can cast that this turn. And we pass. So next turn we can, if we draw another creature, we can pitch it with the Fauna Shaman and grab a Jinnie Fay instead. Okay, another great card to flicker. Opponent definitely a flicker deck. So they probably have this 5 mana enchantment, don't they? Nihiri's, whatever it's called, which lets you flicker all of your creatures every turn. A land is very unfortunate there. But I think what we do here is hold up the cycling from the Triome and Boseiju to destroy the enchantment, assuming that's what they're going to play this turn. I think it's 5 mana. Okay, not quite yet. They still don't quite have the payoff for their strategy. They're just setting it up. Okay, opponent forgot about the fact that we have a Skrelv. So the question is, do we need to hold... I don't think we need to hold up Boseiju anymore, so we can use a white mana to pay for this and save 2 life and give it protection from red. Pass back to opponent and cycle. Another land. Okay, there at least is a creature card. So we can... I would still like to keep the Boseiju to deal with the enchantment, if that's what they cast. So we only have untapped lands, so we can't pitch the Gala Greeters and grab a Atsushi and play it and hold up Boseiju. Tricky. I think we just play out the land, hold up Boseiju, and pitch the Gala Greeters at their end step. Because we're still on 20 life. Basically, the only way we can lose is if they hit their payoff. There it is. Okay. So, good decision there to hold up the Boseiju. Get rid of that straight away, because it also gives the team +1/+0 in haste. Okay, now we can pitch this for the Atsushi. Okay, another Blade of Shared Souls. So that's unfortunate. If we got a creature card there, we could ditch it for the Jinnie Fay. But hey, we're still alive. We managed to destroy their big payoff. Hopefully they don't have a second one. If they do, we can probably survive a turn or two. They do have a second one. Okay. So what do we need? We need the Fauna Shaman to survive. And we need the Jinnie Fay. We don't have enough mana. Assuming we draw a creature card, we don't have enough mana to swap it for a Jinnie Fay and play the Blade of Shared Souls. But if we draw a Jinnie Fay, we go infinite next turn. So they're going to flicker everything here. Okay, not everything. They leave a couple of blockers back. So what are we dealing with? This is going to come back as a 3/3 double strike. This is going to come back and deal 2 damage to something. That's not ideal. Okay, but what we can do is play the Blade of Shared Souls, copy the Atsushi, and dig 2 cards deep. And hopefully we find the Jinnie. Okay. They are completely useless. The question now is, do we cycle the Jetmir's Garden? 7 lands would be good because that's enough mana to use Fauna Shaman's ability, play a Jinnie Fay, and play a Blade of Shared Souls all in one go. Although we actually only need 2 mana now. We don't have to play a second Blade of Shared Souls, we can just equip this one onto the Fauna Shaman, and that will be enough to get the combo started. So I think we pass. Do we need to attack? I don't think we need to, because taking 4 life here doesn't do anything. We're potentially going to go infinite next turn, so whether they're on 22 or 18, it doesn't matter. Have they learnt they need to target the Skrelv? They have. Well done, opponent. So now we just have to hope all 3 of these creatures survive. And we have at least 1 creature card in the top 2. Okay, that's unfortunate. They're going to take the Atsushi here, I would guess. They do. We're not completely out of it yet, though. This is until the end of our next turn, so we can still play the backup Atsushi next turn. That's good. And then we're still just waiting on the Jinnie. Okay, opponent going to get in for 8 damage. I don't think we want to block here, because we need both of these cards. Opponent only has 2 cards left in hand, one of which we know is a Plains. So if we can just find the Jinnie, things are looking good. They're going to get to flicker a bunch of stuff again though. Dahlia is not what we want, although we can discard her to the Jinnie. Discard her to the Fauna Shaman to grab a Jinnie. Okay. So we play the Atsushi. And then on their end step, we can discard the Thalia and grab a Jinnie, and then next turn we can go infinite. They're probably going to kill the Fauna Shaman. Okay, so we're forced to do it now. But as long as we don't die this turn, or as long as they don't kill either of these two, we can go infinite. This is a close one. Elish Norn entering the battlefield. Oh no. That kills it. That kills the combo. Anything but Elish Norn. That is unfortunate. Is there any way around this? What can we still do without enter the battlefield triggers? We can still... So for Moradin, the 4 Mirrodin won't trigger, so this won't create a creature. So the best we can do is play the Jinnie. Attach the Blade of Shared Souls to the Kemba. Make Kemba into a copy of the Atsushi. Let it die, create 3 treasure tokens, create 3 dogs. So unfortunately, because of the Elish Norn, the bit that if we'd have created cats there, Kemba's ability says whenever Kemba or another cat enters the battlefield, attach 1 target equipment. So that's how we go infinite, but the Elish Norn would have stopped that from triggering. So it's no good. But we can create some more dogs here. We can basically just create a bunch of dogs or cats every turn now. We just can't go infinite. But maybe this will be enough to still win the game. Sure, we can play this out. The more mana we have, the more times we can create lots of dogs. So I guess right now we have to start attacking them. We have to start taking life. We're not going to be able to go infinite while Elish Norn is on the battlefield. So the best we can do is try and race them, try and kill them in the normal way. Although, okay. I forgot that Elish Norn would double that trigger. Alright. Okay, well that's unfortunate. Turn before we went infinite, they played Elish Norn, which shuts down our combo, but we were close. We just needed the Jinnie a couple of turns earlier and we would have been fine. Or in fact, any creature card a couple of turns earlier, because we could have then pitched it with the Fauna Shaman to get the Jinnie. Well, very close, but not quite. We're on the draw. We have a decent hand. Good mana, all of the colours. Decent curve. Missing the combo pieces, really. But hopefully we can draw into them. Or we can draw a Fauna Shaman, which helps us draw into them. So opponent playing Gruul. Probably Gruul aggro. I don't know if there's any other kinds of Gruul than smash face as quickly as possible. They do run removal though. Return to nature. Interesting. Okay, and we've drawn another land, which is not great. But Melira is decent against aggro decks. Big 3/3 body on turn 2 is nice. Although if they play something like a Migloz here, it's going to be too big for our Melira. Or a Bloated Contaminator. Okay, so it looks like they are a sort of more control-y Gruul deck. Interesting. Alright, we get more lands. So we really need to stop drawing lands if we want to have a chance in this game. At least we've got the Boseiju and the Otawara to have some kind of interaction, be able to do something if we continue to draw just lands. Another Lithomantic Barrage, okay. And they pass. Okay. So I guess we play a land and hold up Boseiju and Otawara. They pass back, so they're mana screwed, we're mana flooded. And another land. Okay. Yogo opponent. Do they miss their land drop as well? Pretty funny. Okay, and another land. Maybe they're like an all will be one deck that needs to get to 5 mana to play their all will be one. This is quite amusing. Did they find it? Or they found something to do with 3 mana? No, they just thought about it for a while before passing. Okay. Right, we have Blade of Shared Souls. I mean, it doesn't really do anything here, but okay, let's play it anyway. It's basically just a vanilla 2/2 for 3. But sure. Okay. That's going to help them draw into their land. I'm almost tempted to sure, let's not let them look for their land. Let's use Otawara on our own token, killing it and stopping them from looking at the top 2. Right, I wish we hadn't done that now, because the Otawara might have been nice to return the Atsushi to hand to save it, although we do have protection from Plaza up, so that's not bad. And they found the 4th land anyway. They still pass back. Okay. Thalia. Sure. Let's try attacking and see what happens. Okay, let's play the Thalia. If they are an all will be one deck, that makes their next turn more awkward because they can't go land or will be one. Okay, they've got big score, right. So, some kind of Gruul ramp deck? I don't really know what we're up against here, which is cool. I love playing non-meta decks, so props to you, opponent, for playing something a bit different. Mainboarding 2 Lithomantic Barrages. Basically, so far we've just seen a bunch of removal and a big score. Opponent in the tank. So they're hovering the Thalia. Maybe they're wondering about how Thalia works with battles. No? Okay, Brotherhood's End. So we don't have enough mana open to protect both with the Plaza, but what we can do is protect the Atsushi if they play a second Brotherhood's End, or if they try and kill it. Can't be countered, but I think this still saves it. It does. Okay. So opponent passes back to us. Another Blade of Shared Souls. Okay, sure. Well, let's at least use this to dig a couple of cards deeper. Another Atsushi and another Thalia. Alright, so how much mana do we need to leave up for this? We need... Okay, so we can't play land and Thalia. So I think we cast the Thalia next turn. Although that being said, do we need protection for Atsushi? If they kill it, we just play another one next turn. No, sure, I think we play the Thalia here. I think we still hold up the Boseiju though, because we're not sure what opponent is playing, and the option to remove an artifact or enchantment might be good. Okay. Tyrannix Rex. Alright. Opponent goes aggressive. Sure. 8 damage, 4 poison counters. Gala Greeters. So, tricky decision here. I think we want to attack with both and then turn the Thalia into an Atsushi and dig 2 cards deeper with it. See what we get. Okay, another Blade with Shared Souls. So I think we go Gala Greeters, Blade of Shared Souls, let's sure gain life. And do we want to copy? If they play another Tyrannix Rex next turn, they're dealing 16. This, as it stands, it isn't enough to protect from that again anyway. So I think we do just dig 2 deeper. Okay, the 4th copy of Blade of Shared Souls. So opponent probably... Well, they don't have the treasure tokens anymore, right? Oh, and they also can't... Okay, so they don't have enough mana for another Tyrannix X. They do have a Chandra, though, who can take out both of our creatures.
Fire doesn't need a plan.
Which I guess is what they will do, because otherwise we probably have lethal next turn. Yep, looks like it. Oh, they go face, okay. So, sure, exile top 2 cards. Let's see if there's any way out of this. Alright, so we have the full combo. Do we have the mana? We have 8 lands. We need 2, 5. We can cast all 3. So, we need the Kemba. Okay, so we definitely want to be able to trigger, order our triggers ourselves. So we have 9 mana. We have enough. 2. We have to think about this. We can use the 3rd trigger from the Gala Greeters to create a treasure token. So which do we want first? It doesn't. I don't think it matters. I think we can go infinite here. Submit 0, gain 2 life. The important thing is that we have the right mana for Jinnie Fay, which auto tapper is leaving up, and we do the treasure token last. So here, create a tap treasure token, create the cat. We can now use Kemba's ability to equip the blade to the cat. We can copy the Atsushi. We get the 3 treasure tokens. We make 3 hasty cats. And we don't even need to do another cycle. We can now attack with everything and win. Whew, so that was a close one. So we could have gone infinite there, we just didn't need to. Creating the 3 hasty cats was enough to close out the game. But yeah, potential for infinite. Even if they were on 200 life there, we could have won. So, good game. And nice to finally get the combo off. Alright, we're on the play with a pretty good hand. turn 2 Thalia on the play is very annoying for a lot of decks, so that's a good start. Yep, it's annoying for mono red, so happy with this start. They might just have a play with fire or something for 2 mana to kill it, but that's great because that means they weren't able to take advantage of the second chapter of Kumano. So Melira is also great because she can protect. Well, she can't really protect our Thalia if Etching of Kumano is in play, because that means our creatures get exiled instead of dying. But a 3/3 body is also nice, so I think that is what we go for. The Thalia is a great blocker against the 2 toughness creatures because it has burst strike, so they well, I was going to say they can't finish it off with a burn spell, but they could obviously just cast the burn spell before combat. So it looks like this will kill the Thalia, and we can't protect it with the Melira because of the etchings. But at least we've got a good blocker. They have no good attacks here. Great. So we survive. And we have the Atsushi, but we have no second red source. So I think this turn we have to go Gala Greeters into Kemba and create the treasure token, allowing us to create the Atsushi next turn. And we pass back. Next turn we'll be able to play the Atsushi and still hold the Eiganjo up for 1 because we'll have 3 legendary. Well, you only need 2 legendary creatures in play to get this cost down to 1. Okay, opponent attacks with everything. So they probably have some way of boosting their creatures here. I think we can't really let them flip the battle though. So I think we have to do some trades. We could try and block the etchings with the Melira and go with the Kemba on the Swift Sphere, but assuming they only have 1 pump spell here, I think I like this more because this the Melira trades with the Swift Spear. This becomes a really bad block if they have 2 spells in hand to pump the Swift Spears twice. Let's see if they do. They don't, so we do get the trades as we wanted. And now we can cast the Atsushi. Okay, or we can go Atsushi and Melira, which is great. So I think we play out the Eiganjo, even though it is pretty useful here. Let's boost the Gala Greeters and let's gain some life, because we don't really need more mana when we have no creatures in hand. We also have 5 mana, which would be enough to cast everything in our deck. The only thing we don't have is a second red source if we got another Atsushi, but I don't think that's a good enough reason to get the treasure token there over gaining a bit of life. So opponent certainly slowing down here, and as things stand they have no good attacks. So let's see what they do. They attack with the electrostatic infantry. I think this is a pretty easy double block. Something like a lightning strike would allow them to kill both. They do have exactly a lightning strike. But what we can at least do here is exile the Melira, allowing our Atsushi to come back to life, and we get the trigger. So we can essentially draw 2 while still keeping the Atsushi and getting another trigger from the Gala Greeters. So I think we just keep boosting the Gala Greeters to get it to a point where it can also be a good blocker. And we get 2 lands, not great, because we can't channel this. Which is very annoying. And I think even though would be nice to get the value of playing one of them. The Plaza of Heroes is great because it allows our Atsushi to be protected, so I think we just have to let both of these go. Kind of unfortunate to get 3 lands in a row from the top there, but we're still not in a terrible position. And opponent attacks, so again, I think we double block, and if they put the Atsushi first, we just protect it with the Plaza of Heroes. They do. And they play with Fire It, which is strange. Do they have another burn spell in hand? Doesn't look like it. So as things stand, we... Okay, I think that was just a misplay by the opponent there. I'm not sure they saw the Plaza of Heroes. Alright, Geist Flame Reservoir. Okay, so basically when they cast instants and sorceries, that charges up and they can deal damage to things with the counters. So we obviously want to run out the Kemba here, get another trigger from the Gala Greeters. I think we just keep boosting it up. And at this point, we just want to start attacking, I think. I think we want to go offensive. So, sure, let's attack with the Gala Greeters. Keep the Atsushi back on defense. See what the opponent draws. They're going to use the Geist Flame. Ancestral Anger is good. So this now has Trample, but it's still not enough to get past the Atsushi. They do draw another card though, and they concede. So they were out of gas, and our 2/4/4 blockers proved too much for them. So, nice little win there, even though we didn't get close to comboing. Sure, we had fun. Right, we're on the play. We have a pretty bad hand just because the lands are not ideal, so I think we have to mulligan. This is slightly better. Still not great, but I think we get rid of the spare Melira, because here is 3 out of 4 of our combo pieces, so as long as we get the Atsushi, we have everything we need to combo. So I think going first with the Melira is always a safe bet, just because a 3/3 body is not insignificant in a lot of matchups. Looks like our opponent is mono white, maybe humans, soldiers, something like that. Looks like they have a tough decision to make. Turn 2. Thalia. Okay. That's fine. And the third land is great. That's exactly what we needed. Okay, so I think we run out Jetmir here just to be mana efficient. And then next turn maybe we can do the Kemba and the Fauna Shaman if we draw another land. Opponent has an ossification. Okay, probably takes our Jinnie Fay. Okay, we can't do anything about that. Gala Greeters. So I think at this point it probably is worth running the Gala Greeters out because we're short on lands, so we can use the Gala Greeters and casting other creatures to get some treasure tokens. So do we want to trade here? I would happily trade the Melira, I wouldn't trade the Gala Greeters. Although, if they order it... Ah, no. We can't use the Melira to save the Gala Greeters here. Because we need both to block to be able to kill it. Because of first strike. Okay, I think we take that for now. Still no land. Okay, so I guess Fauna Shaman for now, and we create a treasure token. And hopefully we either hit our land drop, or at least we can start using the treasure tokens to cast our more expensive spells. Adeline is very scary. So let's see what they do here. They do attack. Okay, well I think we just have to block the 2-1 and take the 3. Skrelv. So, we can play the Skrelv, create a tapped treasure token, play the Kemba. I think we boost the Gala Greeters, and we hold up Fauna Shaman's ability to grab an Atsushi, I think, just because the 4/4 here is very relevant. It can block Thalia, it can trade with Adeline. So I think this turn we want to be using the treasure token to grab a Atsushi instead of the Thalia, and then next turn we can play the Atsushi. So they lay down arms the Skrelv, that's fine. And they attack with everything, no. So are we willing to trade anything here, or do we just take the 7? 7 is a lot. That being said, we have the Atsushi next turn. So can we take 8? We go to 9, but next turn we have a very good board presence. And we're able to get a bunch, we'd be able to have a bunch of good blocks against them. So I think this is fine for now. So discard the Thalia, grab an Atsushi, my turn. Okay, well that's good, we don't need to use the treasure token anymore. What do we want to do here? I think we... create... No, I think pumping up the Gala Greeters more is better. We basically want to be able to get it to a point where it can block well against most of their board. So now all we're missing is the Jinnie Fay, and we can go infinite. Although even if we draw the Jinnie Fay, we would need 2 turns because we don't have enough mana to cast both Jinnie and the Blade in 1 turn. Okay, opponent playing out a bunch more little critters. And they don't have any great attacks anymore. So I guess the Thalia is still a good attack. Yep. So I think what we do here is we sacrifice the Atsushi but use the Melira to bring it back. And we use the death trigger to create some treasure tokens, which could then potentially help us go infinite next turn. So I think that's what we do. So create treasure tokens, create another treasure token. So we have 9 mana. We need 1 to grab the Jinnie Fay, 4 to cast this, that's 5. I think that's it. I think that's enough to go infinite. So we grab the Jinnie Fay, we play the Jinnie Fay, don't think it matters. Create a tap treasure token, sure, create a cat. Gain 2 life. Play the Blade of Shared Souls. Create a cat Doesn't really matter though. Nope, we don't need this. 1/1 counter. Okay, the cat becomes a copy of Atsushi. Legendary rule kills the Atsushi. We create 3 more treasure tokens. We make them to be cats. We attach the Blade of Shared Souls to one of the cats. That cat becomes a copy of Atsushi. Legend rule, 3 treasure tokens. 3 more cats. We attach the equipment to one of the cats. That cat becomes an Atsushi. Legend rule, 3 treasure tokens, 3 cats. Okay, we just need to figure out how many times we need to do this to have lethal this turn. Maybe opponent will just scoop before we actually have to attack. So 3 more treasure tokens. Attach the equipment. Create a copy. So they've got 1, 2, 3, 4 blockers. I think if we do it twice more, we're definitely safe. Actually, 10. Okay, yeah, we had lethal. Opponent concedes. They realised where we were going with that. I think we didn't need to do it one more cycle. We had the 10 cats to attack for 20 damage. They have 4 blockers. They can block, for example, these 4, and we still get 20 damage through. So that was lethal, and opponent saw that. So there's the combo. We finally did it. Yep, on to the next one. Alright, we're on the draw with a pretty good hand. Definitely keeping this. The question is what order we play things out in. It looks like an opponent might be mono white. So it kind of depends if they're the mid-rangey version or soldiers or humans. Because if they're mid-range, Thalia is great. If they're soldiers / humans, Thalia doesn't do much. I think it's probably in best of 1, it's more likely they are one of the aggro versions, so they're probably waiting to flash in a resolute reinforcements here. So I think we're fine just playing the Gala Greeters. Okay, nope, they didn't have anything. Just a very slow start from opponent. And an ossification. Okay, so it does seem like they are a more mid-rangey, control-y pile. So Thalia could prove very annoying for them, so let's run the Thalia out. Yep, okay, so Roadside Reliquary confirms it. They're playing mono white mid-range and they're removing everything. Okay, sure. Let's see if they can deal with an Atsushi. Wedding announcement, that's fine. And another ossification. Okay. So opponent's stacked on removal. But luckily we are stacked on creatures. So I think I will play both things out. And potentially use the Boseiju on the ossification next turn to get our Atsushi back. I think that's fine. Don't need it immediately. Maybe tease any last bit of removal out of them first before we get the Atsushi back. Okay, so that's not ideal because if we use Boseiju on the ossification, they can just return it with the second chapter of this. Unless we hold it up and do it after their after the stage 2 of this saga. So I think that is our play currently. Sure. So I think we can attack with the Melira here, and we hold up the Fauna Shaman to discard this for something more useful, and in their end step, or some point, anytime from now on really, we can use the Boseiju on their ossification. Okay, they're going to main phase Wandering Emperor.
energy of battle, then guide.
Exile target creature. Well, we might as well exile it ourselves so that at least don't gain the 2 life. And now we don't have to worry about Fauna Shaman dying, because it will come back. Okay, they pass. So I think we get our Atsushi back. And we swap the Fauna Shaman for... Ah, we only have 1 green source. We can't do both. Okay. Well, that's fine. I think we attack the Wandering Emperor here because if they have a board wipe, that would obviously survive. So get rid of that. We play the Kemba. And now on their end step, we can discard the Fauna Shaman for, I guess, the Jinnie Fay. And then all we need is the Blade of Shared Souls to go infinite. So I think that is what we do. Opponent attacking with everything suggests they maybe do have a board wipe here. We're not going to block because we're not interested in trades. Nope. They're just getting aggressive. Okay. So let's grab the Jinnie Fay. And hope we draw into the Blade of Shared Souls. So we have a good attack with the Atsushi. We play the Melira. And we play the Jinnie Fay. So, bit of a deadlock here. They have a good attack with the flipped Restoration of Eiganjo. Do we want to block with anything here? They may well have another Wandering Emperor, which they could flash in to give it first strike if we double block. So I think we're fine just taking the 4 life here. Play it safe. We're still on 16 life, so we're not too concerned yet. They're building up quite a big board state though. But as soon as we draw the Blade of Shared Souls, we go infinite. Land, not ideal. If we get any other creature, we can discard it for an Atsushi, play the Atsushi, the Legends Rule will kill 1, and then we can use the Death Trigger to exile 2 cards and dig for it. So that's probably our game plan. If we don't draw into the Blade of Shared Souls, we're probably doing that. As things stand, there's not much we can do except keep attacking with the Atsushi, and I think playing out the land's fine, because if we end up doing the plan we just discussed with creating a second Atsushi, you want to have as much mana as possible, right, to play the cards that it exiles. So I think we just leave everything back and we can create a 2/2 cat using Kemba's ability. So it looks like they have another ossification. Whatever they target here, I think I'm going to exile a Plaza to give it hexproof. And let's see what they do. They attack again with 2 creatures to make sure they do get the to draw from the wedding announcement. Do we still want to play around a Wandering Emperor? I think so. Our life total's still not really at risk. So I think we're happy taking the 4 for now. And they pass back. Blade of Shared Souls, there it is. So assuming they have no interaction, this should go infinite. So we create a cat. We make the cat a copy of Atsushi. Legends Rule kills 1. We get 3 treasure tokens, 3 more cats, 3 more Kemba triggers. We choose the Blade of Shared Souls. We don't need to do anything with the other 2. Create another copy. take action, and opponent sees that we've gone infinite and concedes. So there we have it. There's the infinite combo. Didn't actually get to attack with the hasty cats, which is always quite satisfying, but opponents saw that we were going infinite and we would have lethal this turn because all of the cats that we're creating have haste. So, good game, opponent. Alright, back for a little recap here. Like I said at the end of my last video, if you watched that, most of my decks aren't actually intended to be competitive, sort of at the top end of the ranked ladder. This deck went 10-16 overall in the sort of testing and filming process, so around a 35% win rate. That is at the top 1,000 mythic ranked places, so it might do better in different metas, maybe at different points on the ladder, I'm not sure. But it doesn't compete with the top meta decks. It's just not as good. It's not as consistent as them. But it is similar to my last deck. It is fun to play, and I find it really rewarding to play these sort of more unusual off-meta decks, especially when there's something like an infinite combo in it. It's really rewarding in it when it works. But yeah, don't go crafting this deck expecting to be able to win consistently on the ladder with it. It's not that good. Similar to my last deck, it also struggles against control, and we're seeing more and more control on the ladder. And they're just sort of, they have too much interaction, and this is a very synergistic deck based around Jinnie Fay, obviously, and if they can just remove Jinnie Fay or wipe the board, we're kind of screwed. This deck is not good for coming back from behind. It also struggled sometimes against very fast decks. As you saw, we did beat Mono Red a couple of times, but sometimes their curve out is too perfect for us to deal with or for us to be able to stabilize against. So yeah, just wanted to basically warn you to not craft this deck expecting it to be really good and be able to win a lot of games with it. I'd also like, if you've made it to the end, then I'd love to hear from you what you thought about the format of the video. Is it worth showing the games where we lose or where the combo doesn't work, or would you prefer to just see the games where the combo works and maybe have shorter videos which just get straight to the point? Or do you enjoy also seeing the process of trying to get the combo to work and not quite pulling it off, that sort of thing? So I'd love to hear from you regarding that. And other than that, yep, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll be uploading a new one soon. See you then.